What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today I will be doing a technical analysis breakdown for strategy B with the ticker symbol MSTR. I will first be going over what I see on the daily chart and finish the video off with the weekly chart. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please trade at your own risk. So hopefully you guys are having a great weekend, and remember to practice some gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for. It could be something simple, just as being able to breathe air. So let's take a look at MSTR on the daily chart. What happened yesterday? Well, it was pretty volatile. You can see that price was trading up to about the 410s, 409s, and then it sold off to about the 389, and then we closed almost practically in the middle in the 390s. So a little bit of indecision, but a very volatile day. So let's just take a high level view at the chart. What's been going on for a while now? Well, just basically sideways trading. Last year in November, we're at the same price level as we are right now. So basically, it's just a big trading range. And you could draw the range lows probably right about here at the 230s, 238. And the range highs are probably right about here. And maybe a little bit lower, probably the 430s. So it looks like, the range could be range highs could be argued to be at the 420s or 440s. We could leave it at the 440s, or the most touches probably happen right around here, like the 430s. So basically, it's just a big trading range. However, we have not seen price get to the bottom of the range. It looks like we're staying in the upper bounds. We're staying above the midline. So this is the upper bounds of the range, which is typically a good sign. It's a strong sign that the bulls are able to maintain prices at this high level and not let the bears sell it off back down to lows. If we go even more granular, you can see that we're going sideways as well for the last several months, basically same price level as in May of this year. So in the macro, we've been basically just sideways with these trends, and then now price is even more sideways with these micro trends. In the more near term, price was in a downtrend. Well, it tried to break out of the 440s but failed, led to selling pressure, and then we were below this trend line. Price broke this trend line. I'd say this is a decisive break. There's some subjectivity regarding what's a decisive break or with conviction, but I'd say this is definitely a break with conviction. We saw a huge gap up. These two candles are closing outside the trend line, so it looks like this downtrend potentially could be over. We could definitely start a new one and make another leg down, but it looks potentially like the support zone right around the 360s was holding, and the bears were not able to pass, and then now we did see a break of the trend, and now it looks like it's just kind of right at the midline of the range pattern. So this is where there's a lot of indecision happens, right in the midline of the range. So let's go ahead and remove the macro range. So let's focus on the micro range. So this looks like a range pattern to me, just basically trends going up and down, ending abruptly. And now we're in the middle of the range, which is very choppy because it's an area where traders and market participants are not sure what can happen. At the lows, they're pretty sure what can happen. We can bounce and move up higher. And at the highs, they're pretty sure what can happen. We can move down lower. But in the middle, it's a coin toss. It can go up or down. Who knows what? But most likely, I'm not going to expect to see like 450s, tomorrow or on Monday, or even the 360s. Looks like we're going to be probably staying within these bounds as of right now, probably between the 360s and 420s as of right now. Looks like price is trying to break out higher. I would say we can give the bulls the benefit of the doubt, especially with Bitcoin looking a little bit bullish. And overall, you can see that when price is moving just sideways, the trend lines are not really in play. First trend line was right here, but then we're just moving sideways. And now, can you adjust the trend line? Is this one in play? We might just continue to change sideways through this one as well. So I don't really have a confirmed trend line to use. But overall, price is just staying in the upper bounds of the macro range. We're just trading sideways in that upper bounds and looking for a breakout very soon. So let's see what happens. Overall, looks like it's just it's waiting for some sort of catalyst, maybe waiting for Bitcoin to break out. But overall, it's still pretty healthy. This is still a pretty good sign. We're not that high, far away from the prior peak right here. That's the 13%, 14% move down from this prior peak right here. And to get back up there, you need about a 15, 16%. So that can happen in a week. We can get there in 1 week. And then from the all-time highs, which was extremely high, that was only a 27% drop. And to get back up to the prior all-time high, you need about 36, 37%. So not that far as well. You can get there within a month. So overall, I'd say it's looking pretty good. It's just most likely just wasting a lot of time just trading sideways because I had a very big move historically. So moving on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is potentially trying to break out higher. So let's go over the patterns. So there was this range pattern in play previously. Price broke out to the downside. Now it's struggling to get back in it. It looks like it's back testing it for some sort of resistance. Yesterday and even today's candle is finding resistance off that level. But that's just not one reason. There's another reason why. There's a downward sloping trend line in play. So you can even draw a trend channel. So it looks like there's a flag pattern in play. Looks like price is struggling to move up higher. At the same time, though, you can't ignore the bullish signs, which is that we are above this bullish trend line. So there's a macro bullish trend line in play. And then we have a measure move target towards the 136 level. One leg up right here, clone the arrow. Second leg up, price was targeting the 136 level. So the bulls have a measure move target in play. They have the macro trend going for them. They have this trend line going for them. But the bears have the downward sloping trend line in play. Price struggling to get back above 117 and decisively breaking it and potentially rolling over to the downside. So we have one leg down right here. This was the start of the second leg. We barely almost reached the measurement target, so we were barely off of it. So it could still see another drop down towards 111. And maybe we even go for a bigger one. So this is all maybe one leg now. You combine them, and then we see another leg down from here. That would target the 107. So that's just more waste of time. Most likely, either we go up from here or we go down and then we go up. I don't think this is a top for Bitcoin. It would be very disappointing. Only 123. And yes, it can be the top. It's always possible, but I think that would be very disappointing. So either we see a bounce from this trend line right here when we drop down towards 115 and then a rally from there, or we do see a large move down, maybe retest 107 and then see a large move up from there, which would just waste more time, and then it'll just continue to drag out this uptrend. But Bitcoin is struggling to also push through this level. Take a look at Bitcoin against MSTR. So this is how many MSTR shares you will need to get one Bitcoin. And it looks like the measurement target is right around 320, and we were just slightly off of that. One leg up right here, second leg up, and it looks like it could be moving up higher, which means it's going to cost more MSTR shares to buy one Bitcoin, which means MSTR share price would drop. So it looks like it is trying to move up higher. You see there's higher lows and higher highs. So it looks like it is trying to move up higher. So that could mean something there. But it's not guaranteed either. This might be close enough to reaching the target where we could see price roll over. But it looks like if you zoom out in the long term, it looks like it's taking less MSTR shares to purchase one Bitcoin, especially in this bull market. So it looks like it's going down over the long term. Then last but not least, I want to take a look at one more chart. This is Bitcoin's chart inversed, meaning flipped. Bitcoin against the US dollar, but flipped. So what does this mean? It means that you're able to purchase more dollars with one Bitcoin. Instead of dollars buying Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin buying dollars. So before, you weren't able to buy that many dollars with your Bitcoin, like let's say $5,000 for one Bitcoin, and then you're able to buy 65,000 US dollars with your Bitcoin. Now you're able to buy 116,000 US dollars with one Bitcoin. So you can see that over time is costing the Bitcoin amount is staying the same. So let's just say one Bitcoin. You're able to purchase more things with that. You're able to purchase more US dollars with the Bitcoin. So that's what Bitcoin is doing. It's not necessarily Bitcoin going up, is that the dollar is getting weaker and is costing more US dollars to purchase one Bitcoin because they have to continue to increase the supply. It'll just continue to increase over time. So it's costing more US dollars to purchase one Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin because it's fixed. It's a fixed supply, and you're comparing it to something that's continuing to expand. So obviously, it's going to cost more of that against the thing that's staying the same. So you see that Bitcoin is costing more US dollars to purchase Bitcoin over time. And this looks like the trend will continue to move towards the downside, which means eventually it might cost 200,000 US dollars to buy one Bitcoin, or one Bitcoin can purchase $200,000. Same for any other currency. It's going to cost more currency to purchase that Bitcoin, or Bitcoin will be able to buy that currency. And it's just basically Bitcoin buying pieces of paper at the end of the day. It's Bitcoin against everything else. Back to MSTR, and let's finish the video off with the weekly charts. On the log scale, why the log scale? Because if we just use the regular scale, you don't really see a good trend. It looks like, you don't even get to analyze this price action because in perspective, or the ratio is off. So when you use a log scale, it just makes the percentage gains more even. So here we have the log scale on the weekly, and you see a nice uptrend on this chart. It's just trading sideways, wasting time. We have this first trend line right here. Maybe it's coming to the first trend line. That's a lot of times when price is trading sideways, it's coming to a level. So, I mean, that might take a long time to play out, though. Basically, November of this year, it looks like, potentially. Who knows? Maybe I'm just throwing it out there that potentially, it's wasting time to probably maybe come back to that first trend line, depending how you draw it. But there is that steeper trend line that was broken depending on how you draw it. This is the weekly chart. Sorry about that. So this is the weekly chart. Maybe we're coming back to the first trend line right here, wasting time, or maybe we're technically still respecting that second trend line. So if I move the first trend line, you take it off these two swings, you drag it off this wick right here. That's confirmation of the trend line, and then it looks like we're just getting the fourth touch right there. So potentially, we could be starting a steeper angle, or still maintaining that second angle. So overall, that's all I have for MSTR. It's still above the second angle. It's trying to break through this horizontal level of about 430, I would say, right about here, 440. So you see that it hits this level, sells off, hits this level, sells off slightly, hits this level, sells off slightly, and now we're bouncing off a trend line. So just getting pinched between these two levels, converging, and we can see a breakout. Most likely higher. That is the prevailing trend. Just like the trend was able to break through this level right here. You see that was a triple top. 1, 2, 3. Sold off, made a higher low, and then we saw a breakout. 1, 2, 3. Potential higher low, and then a breakout. So the trend is up. Just looking at it, it means that the market participants are aggressively purchasing shares. The aggressive buying pressure is able to overwhelm the selling pressure, and that's why price is able to rise over time. And looks like the trend can continue. So all I have for MSTR on the daily and weekly charts. This is Vee Trades, and thank you for your time.